powerful as thunder and as light as a cloud.
But is the Aprilia Tuono 660 factory worth it over the base model? And is it the king of the middleweight nakeds? So I reviewed the 2022 base model Tuono 660 a while ago, and it was a bike that I really enjoyed. It delivered thrills with a side of Italian flair. When Aprilia, here in Australia, offered up the new 660 factory for a couple of weeks, I was more than happy to take it off their hands.
And I was keen to ride it because, firstly, I didn't get to ride the Tuono 660 last year.
Sorry about that.
But I think we both agree that some of the best bikes that we've ridden this year have been in the mid-capacity category.
Absolutely.
Mostly because the power is just so usable and they're a heap of fun when you get the chance to open it up.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. So the first thing I liked was the engine. It's great. It's so much fun. It's loud and it's raucous. It's about 100 brake horsepower at 10,500 RPM. So it's up from 95 horsepower on the standard version.
I love the engine. I thought there was definitely enough power there and it also sounded really, really nice.
Yeah, the sound on this was really good. Essentially, the engine is half of the V4 Tuono. So, you know, they've just got the engine absolutely spot on. So because of that engine, it's actually quite easy to ride both in traffic when you're in commute mode and on the open road when you're in dynamic. Dynamic mode in traffic is a little bit snatchy, but sticking in commute was absolutely fine. How did you find it?
Yeah, I found that power was kind of perfect for commuting as well as out in the open road. The fact that it's only 181 kilos just means it's easy to ride, you can filter very easily on it, and even just that turning circle, moving it around, it's just so easy. I also found that it was really comfortable to sit in because you kind of are tucked in, the seat is really comfortable and you just feel like you're part of the bike.
Yeah, that seat is quite plush and you're right, you do sit in the bike, not on the bike. The way the tank comes over your knees a little bit as well. Yeah, definitely in there. But just a nice sort of reach to the bars as well. You're up a little bit upright. Legs are a little bit of an angle, nothing too sporty, but sporty enough. No, it's a really comfortable bike to ride, I found.
And then what did you think about the looks of it?
Look, I mostly like the looks. Certainly from front on.
Yep.
Like I thought the headlight looked great and the front of the bike looks great.
Yep.
But that position, looking down the cockpit, down the front, it just looks a bit, I don't know, it's a bit odd. I wouldn't say it looks bad. It's just different. It's very Italian. It's very Aprilia. It's just a different looking bike. It's just probably not what I was expecting. And then the whole back end of the bike, you know, not really my cup of tea, but like it's a unique looking bike, you got to say that. Overall, it just looks a bit different. There's nothing subtle about it or bland.
And then we also have those electronics on the bike, which were amazing. You've got traction control, you've got adjustable wheelie control, cruise control, quick shifter, engine brake, cornering ABS. It had it all, and I probably used about a fifth of it.
Yeah, no, you're right. The electronics are absolutely wonderful on this bike. It's something that Aprilia seem to do pretty well. Really like the quick shifter. It's a little bit raw, but I mean the rest of the bike is a little bit rawer as well, so that was kind of fun. The cornering ABS is great. The engine brake is great. The cruise control found a little bit fiddly, but worked perfectly.
I actually really liked the cruise control. I liked the fact that you had the ability to add 2 or 3 kilometers, so you could just up your speed slightly
just by flicking that button.
I actually really liked that feature.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think I've used better cruise controls on other bikes, but it was absolutely fine.
Yeah. In terms of the sound, what did you think? I actually thought it was pretty good.
The sound from this stock exhaust is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's surprising because the stock exhaust doesn't look the greatest. You don't think it'd sound as good as it does. So no, the sound gets a big thumbs up from me.
Yep.
And it's an Aprilia. It's another exotic bike. There's just something very cool about these Italian bikes. I don't think any other country makes bikes that are more appealing.
And it's not just the power or the looks, it's the whole package.
Absolutely. So for me, the first thing I didn't like was the levers. Honestly, they look like the levers off my Royal Enfield Meteor, which was, there's nothing wrong with those levers.
Yeah.
I just was not expecting them on a bike like this.
I didn't think they really stood out in any particular way to me.
I would just rather have some nice machined black levers, not the silver ones that were on there.
Yeah, that would look cool.
Yeah. So that was one thing. And the second thing, which was just really odd, was that pillion seat, Cal.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's got that soft plastic seat bit in the middle of it. But it's not a seat. It can't possibly be a seat.
No, but it took a long time for us to figure that out. We were trying to figure out how you sit on it. I had a friend sit on it.
She did not look happy.
She was not happy about it, but it's a weird design. Like, I don't know why they did it if it's not a seat.
Yeah, so it should have just been like hard plastic through there.
Yeah.
I think you can take that bit off, and I think the factory version actually comes with a pillion seat. But it's not really a bike you want to have a pillion on. So if it was my bike, I'd actually remove those pillion foot pegs and just have that single rear seat, Cal. So the next thing for me was the controls. Now, I know you like them, but I found them a little bit plasticky and I found them a little bit fiddly to use. I suppose I'm used to using the controls on, say, my BMW and a couple of BMWs I've ridden recently, where it's just nice, big, tactile buttons and dials, whereas this one was just little bits of plastic, and I found I sort of struggled a little bit with the cruise control and the indicators and that sort of stuff, and to me they looked a little bit cheap.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I didn't have the same issues at all. I didn't find them too small or anything like that, and I thought they looked fine. I didn't find that they looked cheap. The part that I thought looked a little cheap was actually the tank.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I just thought it looked a little, I don't know, a cheap plasticky look to it.
The one where you had a few marks on it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it looked better after we gave it a wash and a polish.
But it does show up those marks quite easily.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So with the tank, it certainly looks unique, but my God, it's thirsty.
Yes.
Like, we were constantly filling this thing up. It's a 15-litre fuel tank, but yeah, like, it was ripping through the fuel. I think we mostly had it in dynamic mode, though. I think if we were in commute mode,
Yeah.
maybe we'd get a little bit better fuel economy.
But where's the fun in that?
Absolutely.
As is normal for most of the bikes that we get, it needs a tail tidy. No big shock there. Pretty easy to do.
Yeah, it's another one that, like, we know why they've got these long tails on them and number plate hangers. It's a legal requirement, but yeah, it would look so much nicer if just the number plate was tucked in a little bit and the indicators are up a little bit higher, but yeah, that's what it is. The other thing for me was the screen. I did find a little bit hard to read. It's not the worst TFT in the world. It was actually quite nice, but just some of the text was quite hard to read. I wear reading glasses, so that's probably why. I just like to see some bigger text.
I didn't have the same issue at all, and I think that's probably just an eyesight age thing. No offense, but I just didn't have any issues reading the TFT, so depends on your eyesight.
Yeah, age is going to catch up with you, Tegan. It's another exotic bike out of Italy, so I think that always gets the grin a little wider. It's a fun bike, and for me, it sits at about a 9. I'd be happy commuting on it, but I would be even happier out hitting the twisties. It's raw, it's raucous, and it's fun. Tegan, where does it sit for you?
Look, I'd probably sit at an 8.5. I couldn't give it a 9 because I've just given a 9 to the M1000R, but honestly, I had a lot of fun on it. Easy to ride, lots of fun, sticky tires. I love that cruise control, sounds amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time on it.
Apart from the price, what would stop you buying one?
Probably just the looks. I think the looks is where it marks down for me, and just, yeah, that tank, I'm just not super happy with it. I think it mostly, yeah, comes down to looks.
Okay, yeah, nice. So the question is, why would you buy the factory over the base model? Well, I think it comes down to those extras. The quick shifter is standard. It's lighter. It has a small increase in horsepower. It also has the 6-axis IMU for better ABS, traction control, and cornering headlights. Don't know if you noticed that, but actually the headlights turn when you're in a corner.
I absolutely did not notice that at all.
So that's just one of the things that comes standard on the factory. And you're getting all that for only about $2,000 more here in Australia. So at the end of the day, you have to make that call. But for me, the extras on the factory seem to represent pretty good value.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, we're still talking about a bike that's over $20,000.
The base model is $20,430, but for $22,690, you can pick up the Tuono 660 factory. So I also reckon it's worth the upgrade because it fuses power, style, and fun. One thing is crystal clear. This bike is a true gem and a bit of a hooligan machine. It's got dynamic performance and a seamless blend of sportiness and comfort. I'd say Aprilia have managed to get it right with the Tuono 660 factory.
If you want to see our video on the base model Tuono 660, click this video up here, or click this video at the bottom to see a rider story with Jamie, who rides the big brother of this bike, the Aprilia 210 V4.